Hello everyone. Today our lecture is about guidelines for writing graduation research. Actually, it is not for undergraduate. It is the guidelines for for PhD thesis or master thesis. First of all, I'd like to present or just give you some tips for writing your topic. So to select your topic, you have to follow these tips or these we can say steps. The ability of or the ability to develop a good research topic is an important skill. Sometimes an instructor may assign you a specific topic, but most often supervisors or instructors require you or ask you to select your own topic of interest. When describing on a topic, there are a few things and a few tips you can follow or you will need them to do. First of all, I'd like to start with these tips. Number one, write down your main interests related to your field of study. I mean brainstorm for ideas. Which I mean just like identify something you are interested in or passionate about. To choose your topic so that interests you. You generate topic ideas. For example, do you like a strong opinion? Do you have a strong opinion on account or on a current social or political controversy? Or do you have a personal issue, problem, or interest that you feel that you would like to know more about? Or do you have a research paper due for a class this semester? Now it is there any aspect of a class that you are interested in? So these are the tips. Number one. Number two, combine ideas to create one in-depth concept that looks at an old issue in a new way. That means if you want to try to combine or to create one, there are many or there aren't many explored ideas left in any professional field. So don't stress out trying to find a topic that hasn't been covered in the past. Instead, brainstorm a long list of ideas based on topics that inserted or you are interested in, or about topics which you would like to learn more. Thirdly, look for gaps in current research related to your field. Look for holes of opportunity in the published work of professionals and other students. And that means here in this you can say in this something new to your field. Your thesis should add something new to your research or to the field of the study, which might seem daunting. However, reviewing current research can help. Consider which areas leave a lot of questions unanswered, then add some topics, these topics to your list of potential ideas. That means here, through the literature review, we can say review the previous studies, and we can identify the gap or find a new gap or a new angle in the previous studies, and we are going to address this gap by conducting a new study. However, number four, make sure that you have the sources, the knowledge and ability to carry out all phases of your thesis project. Here you have to, once you select your topic, you have to make sure that you have the the resources. If you don't have what you need now, do some research and ensure that you can obtain in the near future. If the resources are available, create a mini experiment or send out a survey to put your primary ideas to the test. So this will add depth and precision to your topic while revealing any flaws or holes in your plan. Number 5, you have to put here create a swipe file to include the a list of key words of your thesis, putting here in your mind. A swipe file, like a scrapbook that contains a variety of resources that will help you in the future. So you may include links to web pages or blogs, clips for industry, journals, quotes from your professors. If it relates to your topic, it triggers deeper thought or may lead you to new ideas. Anyway, so you also want to keep a list of keywords that represent concepts that you are want to explore in more depth. Use this information to help you brainstorm topics, ideas, and then use it to make you completing your thesis easier. So in this way, you have to focus on the keywords, put in your mind, take into consideration the key words, the key concepts that you are going to deal with. Number 6, and I'll make a list of 5 to 10 topics that might be interesting thesis topics. Here, you have to include the best topics you generated during your brainstorming session. Try to include a range of ideas, as you'll eliminate most of them as you narrow. You narrow your focus. However, having multiple ideas will make it easier to find one that offers a lot of opportunity for research. So you have to choose the best topics that came to you while you are brainstorming. You might enjoy doing this activity with a classmate who is also working on their thesis. You can bounce ideas of each other. Number 7 here, ask your professors which topic they think is right for you. So you know that your instructors or your professor have a lot insight into your field of study, as well as prior the current research. Additionally, they likely know a lot about you. So they know your level, your ability, your capacity, so they can help you understand the best paths of a study and so find out what you think. Tell them about your goals and then ask them for advice. So number 8, the last point, after once you finish on all these previous steps, now you just try to stick to your topic. Now the last one, formulate a thesis statement, which is we can say this is the last step of selecting a topic. So write your topic as a thesis statement. This may be the answer to your research question, or a way to clearly state the purpose of your research. So your thesis statement will usually be one of the 2 sentences that states precisely what is to be answered, proven, or what you will inform your audience about your topic. So this statement is the core, is the most important the point, or we can say the backbone of your research. So if we just to add some this hints, that the title of your paper, or sorry, the title of your research may not be exactly the same as your research question or your thesis statement, but the title should clearly convey the focus, the purpose, and the meaning of your research. So now I just started with these tips. Now in the next step is the graduation research components. I have to start with the introduction. So the first thing should I start is the introduction. I put here the introduction at the beginning. So you know the introduction. Also, the introduction is consists of many so about 7 or 8 steps or 8 points. You know, the first thing I have to start with the introduction. You know, the introduction. Now I'm just these are the major chapters or the major points or major steps or the sections of your thesis. Now I'm in the next sections or next part. I divided each section or each chapter into into subdivisions. I started with introduction. So introduction is supposed to have these sections or subsections. Background of study, statement of problem, research question, research objectives, significance or importance of research, scope and limitation of the study, operational definition or definition of terms, and the summary. Background of study. These sections describe in general about the study that will be carried out. It means that the details or elaborations of the section become the starting point of researchers of research ideas. Here the students or candidates need to explain why those studies should be carried out based on the arguments and evidence related. So while the problem statement is can say if your introduction gets your audience attention, they will stay with your through your research. An effective introduction discusses the meaningfulness of the study with the presentation of problem or issue. We can say it also serves as an argument advocating the need of a study for your chosen or selected object or topic, and gives a clear insight to your intentions or the researcher's intention. So the next or the second section or subsection of the introduction is the statement of the problem, or we can say sometimes we call it problem statement. This section describes issues, problems to be studied in the research. Students need to explain why those studies should be carried out based on the arguments and evidence related. So while the problem statement is just one sentence, it is always accompanied in the larger introduction by several paragraphs and that help to elaborate that may include other elements of the research. That the problem statement also you might present persuasive arguments as to why the problem is important enough to study or include the opinions of others, professionals, critics, analysts, scholars, and etc. In the problem statement, explain how the problem relates to the social or political trends or business by presenting a bit of evidence from your literature review that demonstrates the scope, the depth of the problem. Try to give dramatic and concrete illustrations of the problem. After writing the introduction, however, make sure that you can still easily identify the single sentence that is the problem statement. So the next section, which is the research. Now based on the problem statement, we can derive the research questions. Based on the problem statements, we can derive the research questions. This section enlists the questions that need to be answered in the study. Research questions are usually created based on the objective of the study and must be related to the problem statement mentioned, as I told you. The research question proposes a relationship between two or more variables, just as title states. It is structured in a form of a question. you know that a descriptive research question seeks to identify. So also based on the types of research question, we have three types of research question. A descriptive research question seeks to identify and describe some phenomenon. Secondly, differences research question ask if there are differences between groups on some phenomena. Thirdly, a relationship question asks if two or more phenomena are related to some systematic matter. So after, or also, which is similar to research question, and it's like a paraphrasing the research question to find research objective. If you have three research questions, you have to you have also three research objectives. So the number of the research question, the same number of research objectives. If you have three research question, you have three. You will have also three research objectives. So there is we can say a sequence. They are related to each other. The first research question is supposed to be related to the first objective, the second, and etc. So research objective here, the objective of the study should be specific, measurable, accessible, realistic, and suitable with the duration of the study. So you have to be timing, you be careful and precisely just measure your study according to the objective. You have to choose your objective supposed to be measured within the limited time of your study. So objective writing needs to be in the form of verbs related to the field and their respective research level. The objective that are targets and desired outcomes of work by you to find answer to the problem or issue under investigation. The goal of the study is to study, for example, these are I just give you some examples, especially for those who are doing or studying literature. To start your objective, it is better these are some examples here to show you have to start. The goal of the study is to study, to explore, to analyze, to find, to examine, to discuss, to discover, to show. So these are some examples how to write your objectives. The sixth point, or the sixth section within the under the the section introduction, the subsection is the significance or importance of the research. So an explanation of the significance of a study include the meaning of the research work to you personally. And why do you think that this research is so important and significant? So your point of view here is supposed to be supposed to mention here in this subsection, and should include how your research benefits or impact others in part or whole. Also, the significance, discuss what people or groups of people might benefit from reading your research. Show how this project is significant to developing a body of knowledge. If your investigation will contribute to a portion of a larger investigation, describe that larger investigation as well. The subsection within the section introduction, which is the before that the the scope and limitation of the study. You have to mention here what you are going to study, specifically, the focus and dedication of the study. Should be specific to particular writers, particular or selected works, selected writers, particular approach or concepts. So you have to specific and you have to narrow, because you have to just identify your research. You have to identify your object of study. So don't be very very vast. Supposed to be specific and limited to the time time and you can say the measurement of your time. The last one, we can say the operational definition or definition of terms. The operation definition explain the key concept based on the context of the study. Be sure that your research is understandable to a general reader who doesn't know much about your field of investigation. And the last, the summary, you have to, in the summary, formulate the concept, principle, ideas concluded in this chapter. So in this summary, you have to mention all the previous points, or we can say the subsections, or this the previous one, and just to summarize what you already told or you mentioned in chapter 1. Now let us to transfer to move to chapter 2, which is literature review. That that literature review is so important. Research is the literature review represent the critical and analytical writing about academic writings that had been published by scholars, researchers on the topics related. That literature review here, the purpose is to enlighten the readers on the theories, concepts, arguments that had been used in formulating the research procedures. It also, discusses the strengths and weaknesses of the researchers conducted on the related topic and the scope of the study. That literature review also should be centered on the research questions formed. This part doesn't only list the research items obtained by the study or the completion of the previous studies alone. Instead, the students or the candidate must demonstrate the synthesis of the results in the form of a summary of researchers that has been previously known or unknown, identifying controversies involving the field of the study. And thus, we can say here, from the research question that need further, researching. So the results of this literature review can be used to help form a rationale for your study. You can say from the literature review, you can also to find the gap, to identify the variables, and ultimately help you in choosing appropriate research methodologies. It can also be linked to the findings of the study in the discussion section. Proposed writing on this section consists of two categories. So that it has two parts. Introduction, identify common topics, issues, areas of focus, then provide appropriate context for a literature review. Shows the it shows the overall trend or contradiction in the theories, methodology, evidence, conclusions, or gaps in research or field, or a problem, new perspective in interest that interests researchers. In the literature review also justify the reason for the need of literature review, explain the criteria used for the analysis, compare and arrange materials from the literature review that state why certain literature are excluded if needed. So the main body here, collecting materials for literature, research reviews, theoretical articles, case studies, so on, based on categories, similar themes such as qualitative versus quantitative approach, authors, summary, purpose, or objectives, a chronological order, etc. So in the literature review, we summarizing research or articles in accordance with the relevance of references in literature review. The most important, we can say one of the most important chapters or the section is the methodology. So this part is different. Is different between one graduation paper with other graduation research, depending on the field of a study being researched about. It may not be available in theoretical or based on the graduation paper. This section contains information and justification towards materials, theoretical approach, experimental design and method, used to achieve the researcher's objectives. Materials and methods used in the research need to be explained thoroughly and accurately. References for methods, and the procedures applied must be stated here. So a research methodology outlines the strategy of conducting an investigation in order to answer a research question. This is so important. A research methodology outlines the strategy of conducting an investigation in order to answer a research question. I just focus, underline a research methodology outlines the strategy of conducting an investigation in order to answer a research question. So as a part of our overall research project proposal, the researcher will need to plan out or share the procedure that will be used in investigation. So procedures will include, for example, questionnaire, observation, interviews, we can say, or analysis, textual analysis. The methodology has introduction. In methodology chapter should discuss, for example, what was discussed in the chapter briefly. For example, part one narrator or survey design, while part two explain the sample population and many others. It also, for the best, if the methods used are also included according to the sequence of objectives of the study as stated in the first chapter. So that means there is supposed to be a sequence, between the. So if you start with the first research question and the first the research objective, and with the first tool in the methodology, with the first method. So you have to make a sequence between the research question, research objective, and your methodology. They're supposed to be, crisscrossing between the the three sections. Research design also, here we have also in this research in the methodology chapter, that research design in research or graduation paper design should contain these following information. Research design, for example, whether it is qualitative or quantitative research. Secondly, strategy, approach, types, the method, the tool, the survey, action, the theory, the ground theory, ethnography, text analysis, etc. You have to identify which method you are going to apply or to carry on, or on your or to conduct in this research. The fourth, sometimes in the fourth chapter in in literature in literary studies, we put all together the findings and the discussion chapter all together. But in some, for example, fields, for example, linguistics, or methods, teaching methods, etc. So they divide these two chapters for findings and discussion and conclusion. So they putting the findings or analysis with the discussion, and putting the last chapter supposed to be conclusion. So in the findings chapter, it is the analysis. I'm just talking about those who are conducting literature. This chapter presents an analysis, the research data, or we can say the research data. I mean the textbook or the text. So this chapter, present and analyze the research data, the overall finding of the study, and analysis can be presented in tables, figures, statements to enable the important discoveries to be highlighted. The findings, can be written with more or one chapter. So this section, so for example, the findings, you can say, for example, if you have two novels, so each novel has a chapter. So that means your findings supposed to be in two chapters. If you have, for example, if you have three novels or three dramas or etc., so you divide the chapter in terms of these novels or dramas or plays or etc. So the chapter discussion and conclusion, as I told you, that you can put the discussion and with the findings in literary studies, but in in other fields, you can't put the discussion and conclusion in the last chapter. So that means this is the last chapter of chapter 5. This chapter discusses the research findings, the summary of the research finding, because you already mentioned the research findings by relating theories and past research discussed in the literature review. So that means here in the discussion, try to relate the findings with the theory or your literature review. What you already mentioned, what you already discussed in the literature review about theories, approaches, themes. However, it is best if the research findings and discussion are written according to the sequence of the objectives, okay, or research questions. These findings need to be discussed critically to symbolize how scholarly that certain study carried out. So you have to, in this chapter, you have to make a sequence of the objectives of the research question. So the research, first you have, for example, three objective, three questions. You have to divide, to answer each question separately. For example, each part in this section, for example, the first part for the research question, the first research question, the second part for the second research question, the third part supposed to be for the third research question, etc. So you divide this section in terms of or based on the number of the research objectives or research questions. The findings should be parallel with the research questions, as I told you before. There's also suggest a new innovation or new ideas based on the findings. And at the end of the conclusion, you have to put a very short part, which is a practical significance and application of the research conducted on the field of study here supposed to be or must be stated. Also, there is also another part which is suggestion or recommendation for the future research. For the future research should be also included in this chapter. So thank you so much for before that, the references, you have to put the references. Students may use a particular style based on the format of their university. For example, APA, MLA, Chicago style. So they have to instruct, or they ask for help from their supervisors about the style of their university. Thank you so much for joining, for listening my lecture, and I hopefully give you some hints about writing or doing research. Thank you so much. See you